So thank you for joining the podcast. We've had one or two problems with the audio, but hopefully it'll be all right. If Dave One Shot sounds a bit confused tonight, please bear with us because we're having a couple of problems. Joining the podcast. We've had one or two. Oh, I left the audio on. I've just told Dave, and I do it every single week. I've left the audio on, so I kept hearing myself repeat. But anyway, we're having one or two problems with Discord and the audio, but hopefully it'll be okay. Like I say, if it sounds confusing and Dave can't hear me and we have to repeat ourselves, we have to repeat ourselves. And today we're talking about tattooing in entertainment and gaming. And I've got one of my friends from years and years and years back. And he's been coming on the streams and contributing. I only found out a couple of weeks ago it was my mate Dave, and he's a tattoo artist. If you've seen the thumbnail, that's actually one of Dave's. So he's had one or two problems, obviously, with lockdown, and he's agreed tonight to do the podcast with us. So I'm going to introduce you to Dave. And if Dave, you could tell us a little bit about yourself first before we talk about tattooing. Talk about yourself and how you actually got into tattooing.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is David Nape. I'm originally from Salford in Manchester, which is where I met Mr. Devlin many years ago.
Many years ago.
Currently living in Northern Ireland in County Tyrone. With regards to getting into tattooing, I just decided one day that I wanted to do it. It's always something that I'd been into, having a few tattoos here and there over the years. And I just wanted to give it a go myself. And then I'm just sick and tired of doing jobs, working for other people. So I thought, I'll just you'll
do it yourself. So, I mean, I've known you for years, Dave, and I thought your journey was going to be somewhere or something to do with computers. I never would have put you down as tattooing, mate.
No, same. Yeah, just like yourself. I was very much into sort of PCs and all that side of things. I mean, when we used to play, 1v1 and F1.
Yeah. And even playing the original Call of Duties. People play Call of Duty now, and we were playing the originals on PC. Just want to say thank you for the people that have joined us already. We've got the Slavic Pigeon, we've got Shane B, we've got Bork, mate. Thank you. And I've got one or two things to say about Bork and something we're going to be doing next week. It's really exciting. You'll enjoy this. Nicole, how you doing? You're back again. Today's a sad day. Oh, I don't know what it is, but hopefully it's not too bad. So, Dave, I wanted to talk about this because just recently, or maybe it's in the last 1 or 2 years, I've found that pretty much 80% of anyone that's doing any streaming seems to have tattoos. Are you finding a lot of gamers and people in the entertainment business coming to you for tattoos? Is it a trend that you're seeing?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. More so from sort of the entertainment side of things.
Right.
Especially with my location, because I'm quite close to Belfast.
Sure.
Which is where a lot of filming goes on.
Right.
More recently, or relatively recently, would be sort of Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, because did they not use a private beach or something? The Game of Thrones films. Oh no, that was Vikings, because we've just watched that. Sorry, they used a private beach as wherever the main place was. Right. So do you get many people coming in? If I could just go back to gaming, do you get many people coming into your shop? And we'll go to where you are and what you're doing in a short while. But do you get many people coming in and say, could you do this game character for me? Could you do this movie character for me? Are you finding that a lot more, Dave?
Oh, yeah, that's what I mainly do.
Oh, right. Okay. Is that your genre? Is that what you like to do? Because I know you're a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah, it's mainly sort of movies, TV shows and games.
It just seems really big because you watch streamers nowadays. For example, Tin the Tatman. Nicole, I'll get to you in a second. Like Tin the Tatman that's why he's called Tim the Tatman, because he's full of tattoos. But even the young boys now, and the young girls even, I'm finding that a bigger trend, that a lot more females getting tattoos. Because, I mean, in my day, even your day, Dave, when we were young, it was a bit of a stigma. If someone had a tattoo, they were either rough or they were just nutters or sailors. Do you know what I mean? But now it seems very mainstream.
Yeah, it is very mainstream. You will find, or I found as an artist, that probably the majority are girls coming in.
Oh, really?
Tattooed.
Hopefully the
Yeah,
tramp stamp has stopped.
yeah, don't do those. Cover those up. To be honest with
Yeah,
you. They'll just
yeah.
get gone.
How did that come about?
I've no
Were
idea.
you about when they started? Because I think they're
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous, and I'm sorry if anyone's got one. It's just, it's my opinion. I just don't like the tramp stamps. But
Yeah, I mean,
go on.
they're very much on their way out now.
So the only thing, I mean, I was told a long time ago, and I fell into that trap. Um, a lot of tattoo artists, even when you watch the programs on the TV, they always say, never get a tattoo of a trend, never get whatever the in thing is, because obviously that's going to be something that's inked on your body forever. Do you agree with that, Dave? Or would you advise a client that comes into the shop or comes to you privately, would you say, please don't go for the trend? Obviously, you're going to do it. If they're going to pay you the money, you're going to do it. But I just think that, that advice is right. I wouldn't personally go for a trend. And I did. I got a Chinese symbol at the top of my arm. It was shit. But that's something I don't know. What do tattoo artists think?
Yeah, I mean, generally you will advise your client as best you can, and
Right.
obviously you want to do something that's more custom, something that's out of the ordinary. I mean, nobody wants to do 10 pocket watches and roses in a week,
I know.
which is another trend that went on for a while. Pocket watches, roses, doves, that sort of thing.
So, is there? I've always wanted to know this. As a tattoo artist, you're probably you are the best person to ask. Do you find that you will get, like, for argument's sake, there's a certain percentage of people that will all come in for exactly the same thing, like you said, watches and roses, doves. Is there something in particular, or is there one or two things that are particularly asked on a big percentage of the time? Is there something you seem to do over and over and over again?
Yeah, it depends on the age group that comes in. Usually, your first timers, girls, they'll go for small flowers or
Okay,
silhouette doves.
right.
Your little tiny ones, your little heart shapes.
Yeah.
Um,
And the ones on the feet, I see a lot of the girls with them on the feet.
Feet, toes, ribs.
Oh God, is that not sore on the ribs?
Ribs is probably one of the sorest places, yeah.
But
Saying that, the girls tend to handle the ribs a lot better than the guys.
I think in general they handle pain better than us.
Yeah.
We're big pussies, to be honest. Just before we go on, Dave, can I address the chat? I don't like to leave them out. Nicole, really sorry to hear that. And you look, one thing you're not doing is bothering us. It's just that sometimes it takes time to get to you in the chat. I don't want to dig deeper into what your comment was about, but I'm obviously sorry for you. Cheeky D, everyone's doing well, I think. I think it's just me and Dave tonight. I've not seen Ben from No Cinematics. Chris has got one or two things going on, and Stealth, if anything, comes in late every week. And Bork's been on the punk scene. Dave will tell you I was a punk as a young lad. I still love the music. But I think I probably got my best tattoo only a couple of years ago. I had all my arm covered up. I had some shite on it, but it does need work on it. And I think we're going to commission Dave to maybe touch that up and do the bottom half on my arm when we get a chance, when all this, can't say the word because I'll get a strike, but all this that's going on in the world now, when this is all over, we'll either go over there or Dave will come over here, and hopefully you can do a bit of work on me, Dave.
Yep.
So anyway, right. Gaming. There's one or two things that I don't particularly like, and I think I said it last week about one of the community managers for a game that I really like. He actually had the EA logo put on his arm, and I honestly think that's ridiculous. I don't know what sort of advice you'd give someone. Is it a case that tattoo artists will try and put someone off from doing something they think stupid, or will, Dave, they just take the money?
If you're a decent tattoo artist, will rather not do a certain tattoo,
sure,
than just try and take your money.
So how would you approach that, Dave? Would you say, look, I don't think that's a good idea, or would you out and out say, look, mate, that's a really bad decision? I really don't know, obviously, because I don't know the genre of what you do. How would you actually approach that?
Well, you'd probably put it in a nicer way. You've just put it in a nicer way than I would say it.
Probably. I'm on stream, that's why.
Yeah, I know. It's killing me here not swearing, I'll be honest with you.
I know. I mean, you can swear. I mean, as long as it's not gratuitous
No.
swearing, because I mean, even I've got to cut down. I mean, I've been bad in my day on my YouTube channel, and I've got away with it. But swearing, apparently, up to when it's YouTube, apparently, if it's not gratuitous, it's absolutely fine. But yeah, sometimes I look at people with tattoos and I think, sometimes you'll look at them and you'll think, right, your mate's done that. But sometimes you'll look at a tattoo on someone and you think, someone professional has done that, and someone has, they've walked into, a shop, salon. I don't know what they call, Dave. Are they shops? Are they salons? Are they, I don't know. A studio, yeah, of course they are. Into a studio and say, look, mate, can you stick this on my body? It's going to be there for life. And, and sometimes you can't cover up everything, as you know, Dave. And I think someone has actually put that on someone's skin rather than say, look, mate, I just don't want to do it. But maybe it's not what you might say if it goes to somewhere that won't do it. There's always like the scum that'll probably turn around and say, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a really bad idea, just graphically, you try and talk them round. If it's a completely stupid idea like the EA logo,
because that was ridiculous for me. Yeah, it was. I mean, it literally was. Thanks, Jack. Literally was the EA logo, and I thought, that's ridiculous, mate. I know you're the community manager for an EA game, but I think that's absolutely ridiculous that someone would, for one, ask for that, and for two, someone else put it on someone's skin. I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that, I kind of would do. I wouldn't do, sorry. Saying that I have done game-related tattoos before. For an example, I did the you fella from Trevor from.
Oh God, you told us. Now tell everyone what you did. And did can I ask you first? Did you try to put them off first?
For that particular one, no, because
Yeah.
it was below his t-shirt line.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Um,
So what was it?
to It was from the game GTA 5. The
Mhm.
character Trevor in there has got a tattoo around his neck that says "cut here," and then the dotted line all the way around.
And you did that.
Um, and the guy came in; he was a massive gamer. GTA was his game, um, and I made sure, obviously, it was below his t-shirt line. So if he's wearing a shirt or a t-shirt, you're not going to see it.
Because sometimes do you not think, Dave, someone asks for a tattoo, be it a gamer, be it entertainment, be it a guy off the street, that you think, mate, that's going to ruin your life.
It, I suppose it depends where it's going. If it's going to be on show,
Right.
like the hands or the face,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then it's a definite no.
So again, how would you approach that? Have you ever turned anyone away, Dave, when they've come in for a tattoo and you've said, "Look, mate, I'm just not going to do that."
Yeah, plenty of time.
So anyway, sorry, Dave. Mr. Cheeky, friends come and go. Trust me, I still have a few friends that still talk to again with their real ones since middle school. Everyone else just ignored me. Not sure what you're saying there, mate. But let's have a look. Yeah. So what is your genre, Dave? What are the tattoos you would actually like to do? What are the ones that you would say, look, if I could do these tattoos all day long, I would do this?
Well, it'd be most things in colour. And if I can get something that's a bit geeky from comics, games, movies, then I'll do them all day long.
Because that's what you like. And I remember that, back in the day. And I think, like I say, the thumbnail for the podcast tonight was one of Dave's tattoos. Is it that Darth Maul bloke from Star Wars?
Darth Maul, yeah.
That's pretty much your favourite tattoo you've done, is it not?
It's my favourite one, yeah. He's one of my favourite characters, very underrated and underused in the movies. And that particular one was actually a cover-up of an old tribal tattoo, which made it twice as difficult.
So are they that bad cover-ups? Are they really difficult to do?
They can be, yeah, if especially covering tribal, because tribal is generally black.
And it's dominant and it's quite thick. It's not even just lines of black that you could incorporate in.
Black is very difficult to go over, especially with bright colours.
Shit. So how do you approach it first? Do you try and get the lines to go with the lines of the tattoo that you're trying to cover up?
Yep, a lot of that was hidden. If you look at that thumbnail picture, a lot of it is hidden in the glove and
right. Okay.
Shoulder.
Right.
And then it kind of goes up into the face.
Right.
And Darth Maul's obviously already got tattoos on his face, or
sure,
and tattoos. So you just kind of work them in.
So did he actually want Darth Maul, or did you suggest that?
No, he wanted it because he's the fella that I did it on. Funnily enough, he's from England as well, but he lives over here.
Oh, right, okay.
He's actually into the same sort of stuff.
Right.
And he basically just said to me, which is very rare, he just said, do what you want.
Shit, and you said, right, I'm having that, and he liked that anyway.
I showed it him before. I showed it in my mock-up of the image faded on over the top of his old tattoo. And then he loved it, and then we did it.
Sorry, just as you stopped there, but a chip in my mouth. I'm having chips for my tea tonight. So, yeah, Cheeky Waffles, sorry, mate. Yeah, he sold his soul to EA. Sorry, I'm trying to swallow that chip. So, Dave, so do you work for a studio over in Ireland, or, I know it's obviously there's a load of trouble now because of all that's going on. How are you surviving as a tattoo artist then? I mean, I believe that you work at a studio. Is there any life plans you've got going forward because of all the shit that's been going on?
Yeah. Well, all the studios are closed at the moment and have been for a good part of the last year. We're generally the last ones to reopen for these little lockdowns. Um, you just got to survive the best you can, sort of thing. I've worked in a couple of studios. Um, when we reopen, um, I'll be opening my own. So
Is that what you're intending to do? Like open your own
yeah,
studio, or are you going to start from home, or are you just going to rent
I'm
a
going to
little
start from
unit?
home at first. Yeah, I'm going to start
Sure.
from home at first, and then as premises become available, um, move into a shop that way.
So, can we talk about because a lot of people are quite scared of it, and I mean, believe it or not, I'm petrified of needles. But when I go and have a tattoo done, it doesn't bother me. I don't associate them with needles, and a lot of people think they're going to be ultra painful. And I've only ever had them on my arms, and I literally, because the last guy I went to, he said to me, "Oh, you need a rest. You need a rest." He's a foreign guy. You need a rest. You need a rest. And I said, "No, mate, just carry on, carry on. Just go." He said, "No, you must have a rest." And I said, "No, I tell you what, I'll have a cigarette." So, how bad is the pain, Dave? Because I didn't find it that bad, but and then you hear stories about people fainting.
Yeah. Um, well, first off, everybody's different.
Right.
Pain tolerances are different. One person might be able to take a full tattoo on the ribs, another might not. Um, Again, placement is key. It depends on which part of your body you're going for. Your tattooist will always advise you um, which are the more painful, less painful parts of your body, but that shouldn't
So, can
stop
you
you.
advise us on that? Where would you go for the first one, and where would you not touch till your experience with tattoos as a tattoo artist? Can you
That's a
give us
tough one
where you would go first?
because it depends on a few things. It depends on what you're getting. I mean, something really small, you're not going to put into a large area. Something really big, you're not going to try and squeeze into a small area. What we'll try and do is somebody will say, I've got this picture of, say, a rose. Where's the best place for it? And then the next sort of set of questions will be, well, do you plan on expanding on that? Do you plan on going for a full sleeve, a half sleeve? If so, then start with the arms,
Sure.
and the arms are generally the easiest place to get tattooed on.
Well, I've never found it painful. Seriously, not at all. But I've just seen Bork there. He just said, unfinished carp on my chest, stroke stomach, the most painful of my 20 plus tattoos. He said he bled like you wouldn't believe it. That may have been the whiskey, though. That's another thing to sort of address. You know, apparently it's a rule, Dave, that if you come in a tattoo place smelling a drink, you just won't do it, or will they?
No, you're dead on correct there. Drugs or alcohol is a definite no. You generally just ask them to leave.
And I mean, because you can refuse, obviously, because it's your
Oh yeah,
business.
you can
Um,
you can
but
refuse to do anything. Yeah, absolutely.
but what about someone? See, I never bleed. I've had a few tattoos now, and they're all covered up with the one on my arm. But I've never bled. But people have actually said to me they just pour with blood. Is that just again? Is that just every person's different?
Yeah, everybody is different, but it depends on a few things again. Um, Depends on the tattoo artist. Some tattoo artists are a bit more heavy-handed, and you will
Right.
bleed a bit more. Some are a bit lighter, so you shouldn't. And it comes down to another couple of factors. It actually depends on what you've eaten the night before.
Really? How?
If you're into Italian food, if you eat a lot of garlic, thins your blood.
Oh
Um,
shit! There you go, Bort.
Same with sort of alcohol. If you've had a few the night before, red wine is another one. thins your
Yeah.
paint extremely.
Same again about your blood. Shit.
Yeah.
But he's just said, what did he actually say? Yeah, didn't know what sober was in those days. Cheeky actually said, what I've been told is not to drink, go sober when you get it. Yeah, we just discussed that, mate. So you're right. Box said, lesson learned. Laughing my ass off, and to me the pain felt like a razor blade gently going across my forearm, but the shading was a bit painful. It all depends on your pain tolerance, I suppose. But you know what? The only thing that didn't cause me pain, but the only thing that was uncomfortable was the lines. The shading was easy for me. I don't know if that's the case that you find, Dave. What do you think the people wince more at, the shading or the long lines?
Generally, the lining,
Yeah.
there's a reason for it, but also usually when the white highlights go in at the end. And there's a
All right.
reason for that
Okay.
as well.
So I'm not sure if I'm right here. Do they use more needles when they're doing the shading? I'm not
Yeah.
totally sure, because I remember when the guy did mine, he kept changing the shit on the end of his thing, or he had two gun things, and he said, "All right, I'm going to start shading now." Is it more sort of needles on shading and less needles on the outline work?
Yeah, generally, excuse me, it's the configuration of the needles as well. Your liners are generally round,
Right,
and for example, it'll be called, say, a 7 round liner.
right,
So that's a configuration of 7 needles in a circle.
sure,
And then when you switch to shading, you'll either have a round shader, which is the needles. You still could have the same amount, but they're more open. The end of the needles are more open. And then from
right,
there, you will also have what's called a curved magnum, which is
right.
basically it's the shape of a paintbrush.
So as a needle,
Yeah,
or is it a set of needles?
it's a set of needles.
Oh, right. Okay. So does that sort of thing you do the shading with then?
The magnums, yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
you get better blends, and your shades and your fades are going to be better.
sure. So it quite interests me when I obviously I see people going by, and someone will say to me, "Oh, that looks ridiculous. What is that?" And I'll say, "Oh, it's a game character, or it's something from a movie." And people like turn the nose up. Why have they not got flowers? And I say, because they're more original. I don't know if you're the same. I think I probably appreciate the more original tattoos than I do the ones that everyone would probably get, like you said before, your watches and your roses, or your skulls, which I've got on my arm. But do you like someone who walks in and says, "Look, I've got this design. It's completely original"? Do you prefer that, Dave?
No, I prefer them to come in and say, "I've got this group of ideas.
Right.
I want, maybe something like this and something like this put together." But
And you can make one thing out of it.
yeah, you either draw it up with a pencil or you'll go onto Photoshop and put some images together.
Sure. And then you say, "Well, look, this is how it'll look, and this is my ideas," and then just go with the client. Well, Borks just said then. Sorry, Dave. Go on.
And then, sorry, and then what will happen is then you'll be back and forth with them saying, "What do you think about this?" And they'll say, "Oh, I like this bit, but can you change that?" And then you
Right.
just change it before you even get anywhere near a stencil.
Right. Well, Borks just said, how old was One Shot when he got into ink? So, Dave, how old were you when? I mean, I know you were thinking about it, and maybe you could tell us the process. So you thought about it, you wanted to do this job, you wanted to be a tattoo artist. So how did you go about it? What was your age? Did you go to school, college, whatever, to learn this? So go for it, Dave.
Okay. So at the moment I'm 51. I got into tattoo. I've been tattooing about 10 years. So early 40s is when I actually started tattooing. I'd had the odd few tattoos when I was younger. But no, I didn't go to college, um, any kind of art college. I just decided because I was a relatively good drawer. And then if anybody's thinking of doing this sort of thing, get an apprenticeship. It's the only way you can learn properly is in a shop under somebody that knows what they're doing.
Sweeping floors initially. Don't be put off that you have to do the shit jobs, because I don't know if you'll agree, Dave, that these people are doing you a massive favour just letting you in their studio.
Yeah, it is a massive privilege. Expect to not earn a penny for the first 2 years.
Shit, really? So how do you survive then, Dave?
By other means.
How does that work?
You got to be very sneaky.
Right. What, doing foreigners? And when I say foreigners, it means people outside of work. That's a British word. Go on, Dave. I don't want to get kicked off for saying foreigners.
Yeah, no. But if the shop's decent enough, what they generally do is they will throw you some money.
Okay.
Because generally your payment is what you're learning.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in America they have what is it, interns? You pretty much don't get paid. Yeah. So I suppose it's the same difference. But no disrespect for the young people in society at the moment, but I don't think they understand that shit. You've got this man that's got 10, 15, 20, 30 years experience basically handing that down to you. And then I don't think sometimes that they respect that as a fact. Oh, has Dave gone off? I don't know.
No, I'm still...
Oh, it's still there. Yeah. So, in the shop that before all the lockdown and everything happened, did you have any, young people there or people who wanted to get into tattoos that were in the shop when you were actually there? Any sort of new people that you were sort of showing the ropes?
Well, you'd probably get 3 or 4 in a week asking for an apprenticeship.
Shit. Oh, did you actually take anyone on?
Of course not.
Shit. So what?
Turn up. Well, they'll turn up without doing any research, without bringing a portfolio. They just show up, and
can I do some tattoos?
Yeah, they expect you to give them an apprenticeship just because they want one.
So what would you suggest, Dave, the way they should actually go about it then? So you just said there, right, they don't even come in with a portfolio because obviously they've never done tattooing before. So how would they go about bringing a portfolio? Is it just artwork that they can do, ideas? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you would bring a portfolio. What I always tell people, and they don't like it, however, bring in about 20 to 30 completed drawings or paintings, mainly to do with tattoo imagery.
Right.
But with a few others of like non-tattooed imagery, if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Presented in the portfolio.
So pretty much, Dave, just going off what you just said. So tattoo, I believe it's an art. I don't know about people out there. They might say it's not. But I believe tattoo artistry is an art. For me, it is an art. So you pretty much think anything that you could go out and paint, you could put on someone's body within reason?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. If you can draw it, you can tattoo it.
So how does it? Is there different levels of like? So in art, there is like watercolors. There is,
Yeah,
is it the same in tattooing? Is there different types of
different styles.
pigments,
Yeah,
different inks, different styles? Is it the same thing? And do you find that there is artists out there that sort of stick to one sort of genre of tattoo?
absolutely. You have your different styles. Your inks are pretty much all the same. You'll just get different brands.
Okay,
Um, but yeah, you'll find artists that just do color portraits. You'll find artists that just do black and grey portraits.
right.
Um, and there are some tattoo artists that actually do tribal, and they're very good at it.
What still nowadays? I thought that thing had like gone. Is it
No,
still a thing? Tribal.
I know in the States especially, there's a few guys there, and they are, that's where when you don't want to do it, or when you can't do it, that's where you send them. Um, there's even a shop here that in this county that there's a guy that's all he does is tribal.
Shit, I didn't think it was a thing.
Yeah, very sadly, very much. I don't like the style myself.
I don't.
Um,
I don't. I did in the day. In the day when I didn't. I did. Obviously, I've never had one, but I've seen ones that I do like. But if you give me £1 million now, I'd never wear a tribal tattoo. But I didn't think that there's people out there that still, for one, want it, and there's people still sort of do it. I'm
well, yeah,
quite shocked, to be
yeah,
honest.
he specializes in it, and so what I would generally do is somebody comes in wanting that kind of tribal,
Right.
the type, the black swirly type.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would say, I would say, go to this guy. He's just in like probably about 20 mile away. Go to
Right.
this guy. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's absolutely amazing. If that's what you want, he's your man.
So you still would turn people away? You would still say no? I'd rather not do that, mate. Is it?
I don't do tribal at all. I refuse it.
Could you do it? Look, if someone says, look,
Like it.
right, okay, so it's your choice that you don't actually do it.
Yeah, and I also look at who's getting it as well, because if it's some young lad that's just coming and getting his first tattoo, and he's just got his new first gym membership.
Please don't. Well, what would you suggest if anyone out there, they were a young guy or a young girl for the first tattoo? I mean, I know it's preference and I know they're gonna in the end get what they want. What would you suggest as a first tattoo for someone?
I usually just have a chat with them and see what they're into. Um,
Would you
you know,
stay small though, Dave? Would you say get a small one, see what your pain threshold is, or would you say look, fuck it, go for it?
yeah, the saying that we normally have in the studios is go big or go home,
Sure.
and more often than not, they go big.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, it's actually quite surprising.
So do you find the pain tolerance in the younger people is better than the older generation? I don't know. It's just I
Definitely.
see so many young people with tattoos,
Yeah, definitely.
so they can take it uh, unless it's just the fear because there was such a stigma attached, like I said before, of us when we were younger. There was a stigma attached that only fucking nutcases or idiots got tattoos, but now the stigma's gone. It's just it's a normal thing. But like I said, there is people, and you watch these TV shows, Inked. I think I watch that sometimes. That people just drop down and faint. I don't understand it. The pain certainly can't be that bad. But you said people are different and people have different pain thresholds. But I literally found it like a needle just being scraped along my arm.
Yeah, it's generally when people faint or they you know, you do have people that do go funny on you. They're about to drop. They've either not eaten beforehand. We always advise people to eat a good breakfast and get a good night's sleep. Um, or they've built themselves up that much, the anticipation of how painful it's going to be, which it isn't. Um, is what does it as well.
Balk just said them. Don't judge tribal. That was my first big tattoo 15 years ago. That's balked. With all due respect, mate, it was probably in then. And let me go back to the fact, don't get something from a trend. But no. If that's a thing, that's your thing. And apparently, as Dave said, this a guy that still makes his living by doing tribal stuff. And you watch stuff like Game of Thrones. You watch stuff like Vikings. And sometimes I look at them and I think, that looks actually really cool. But would I walk down the street? Probably not. I don't know. And Balked, I'm with you. Ex-punk. Used to be a little bit of a bad boy. Will not go there, Dave, by the way. I think everything's changed. I think for me, I don't know if you agree, Dave, but I think tattooing has become more arty rather than just putting something on your body because you want people to think you look hard.
Yeah, I mean, it has come very mainstream, especially where I am in Northern Ireland. 10, 15 years ago, it would have been, no chance. The age group that gets tattooed now would be getting tattoos. So I'd say probably here is about 10, 15 years behind.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure. So do you think your clientele or your future clientele are getting younger and younger? Because when I was younger, the guys who had tattoos all looked really, really old. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, you're 51, Dave?
Yeah.
You're 51. I thought you were older, by the way. Yeah, fucker. So you're 51. And to me, when I was younger, I thought all the people that had tattoos were all about 50. But now it seems to be the younger people. As soon as they're allowed a tattoo, it seems to be the younger people that are getting these tattoos.
Yeah. The ranges I've tattooed from 18 on their 18th birthday right up to 70 and 80-year-olds.
Wow, still at that age, is still getting tattoos. Fair play to them, by the way.
You get somebody, you still do get somebody's granny coming in who wants just the one tattoo, and they'll get a small one just to say that they've had one.
Bork's actually got a good comment there. He says, when I was younger, piercings were the most rebellious thing you could do. Now they're so mainstream, I don't even notice them on people. And that's another thing. I mean, I got that. That A was 3. I can still get two in it. That A was 2. I can't get any in now. They've completely closed. But that was 3, and I can still get 2. So what about these? What are they called? They're like, is it an ultraviolet tattoo? I've seen these that the only sort of UV tattoos. How's that work, Dave? Is it special ink or is it? I don't know.
It's a special UV ink, but what you would generally do is you would do your main image first.
Right.
Say, for example, it's a samurai.
Yeah.
You would let that heal over a few weeks.
Sure.
Then you would go over the top with your UV ink, just
right.
Highlight the blade, the eyes, that sort of thing.
Because I actually seen one recently. That's why it popped into my head then. There was one. It was like 2 eyes, a smiley face, and then when it was under UV light, it was like a cartoon cat. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. But I honestly don't see the point. Have you done anything like that?
I've done one, and that was probably about 8 years ago.
Is it more expensive? Is the ink more expensive?
Nope. The ink is the little bottle of ink is the same price as a regular colour.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
So is there a difference between the price of inks? Because I've heard that, because I would personally think that colour ink was the most expensive, but I've heard, and I'm sure you'll write me if I'm wrong, that black ink is the most expensive.
To buy
Or
or to tattoo?
to buy?
To buy, no.
Oh, is it all the same price?
Well, it depends. Again, it's one of those things. It depends on the size of the
Is it
bottle.
brands?
So if you get a big black ink is what you're going to use the most of because of
Yeah.
lining and shading and black and grey. So you would get a bigger bottle. A small bottle of colour ink, say 30 ml, is probably about a tenner.
£10?
Black ink.
Shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That seems a lot for £10.
Yeah, well, it seems like it, but you've got to buy a full set of colours, which comes to about 400 or 500 quid.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay.
And then you've got your bottle of black ink, which is generally a bigger bottle. You're probably talking about 27, but that will last you a lot longer.
Right. So, right, we've got just over 10 minutes. We've got about 12 minutes left. So I want to, it's not a personal question, but so I know you just decide, well, you didn't just decide, you thought you'd always wanted to be a tattoo artist. Is there any tattoo artist out there that, because I know you've talked about a guy in Edinburgh, close to where I live.
Yeah.
Is there anyone you actually aspired to be, a tattoo artist that you thought, shit, I want to be that man. I want a tattoo like that boy.
Yeah, there's probably a couple. For portrait wise, black and grey portrait wise, there's a German fella called Ralph Nonweiler.
Right. Okay.
And his portraits, if you go on Instagram, it's Ralph with a ALF, Ralph.
Yeah.
And Nonweiler is how you would probably say it.
With a W.
Yeah, with a W. Yeah, if you go on
Yep.
Instagram, his portraits in black and grey are just
Out of this world. Shit.
it's like somebody's photocopied.
And stuck it on someone's arm.
Yeah,
Is he that good?
yeah, he is that good.
I was just looking at Bork, the chat there. He said IRC Mickey Sharp's ink was what everyone used back in the day. Is that a thing still, Dave?
Mickey Sharps, yeah.
Mickey Sharp's,
Those are
yeah.
the older, yeah, those are the older style machines.
Right, he said inks was... yeah, I don't know if he meant inks as in ink or... Oh, yeah, he does actually say Mickey Sharp's ink. So do they still do ink, or is that just machines, Dave, you were talking about?
Not that I know of. There's only sort of 3 or 4, maybe. Well, it's probably a good few main brands. The main brands at the moment are sort of world famous, intense.
Right.
You know.
So there's only like a handful of brands that you would actually use yourself personally?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know what the colours turn out like, how they heal, which
And how long they last? Because I think it does make a difference, doesn't it?
it all depends on how you look after your tattoo when it's completed.
What, originally you mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you look after your tattoo, you know it's gonna stay for years and years. If you're a
So
person that goes on holiday in the sun for a lot, then that thing's going. So
Is it? Fucking hell, that's
save you.
shit. Because I got mine done in the sun. But I did put, is this the right thing to put on it? I put pile cream on it. Hemorrhoid cream.
Yeah, preparation H.
I don't know what yes. I don't know what the fuck it was called, but that's what I've heard. Pile cream, hemorrhoid cream is one of the best things for tattoos to so I don't know, does it seal it in initially? I don't know how it works. I know you're not supposed to go in the sun.
Yeah, UV light will destroy your tattoo.
Right.
Same with salt water, so no not swim pools, no going in the sea, that sort of thing. That's why it's a bad idea to get tattoos done on holiday.
Oh shit! Bolt just said Mickey Sharp's. He grew up in his near his place in Birmingham.
Oh, sweet.
I didn't know he's a British guy, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So anyway, we've got about 8 minutes left. I just want to talk about next week's podcast. We've actually got, who's in the chat, balked on next week, and we're going to talk about gaming servers. So Bork's going to tell us how he does his setups and how he would set up a server and what he's done over the years. And he's actually set up a server for us on Insurgency Sandstorm. It's quite a hardcore server. It's going to have the ISMC mod on it. I'm going to be promoting it over the next week or so. We're going to have Borked on next Friday talking about that, which I'm really excited about. So he's actually set up the server at the moment. So it is live. There is a password. And if anyone wants to play it throughout the week, go and download the mods. Go and get everything installed before we do next week's podcast. Because we're going to do the podcast. We're going to talk to Bork for an hour. He's going to tell us about some massively interesting topic. And then what we're going to do is get anyone who's got a PC to get onto the server. And we're going to live stream Insurgency Sandstorm on the server that Bork set up. So I think that's going to be brilliant. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see it there. I'll be promoting it on there. I'll be promoting it on the Facebook, some Facebook channels that I'm on as well, some groups. So if you're not, over there is Devlin TRN. Get on my Twitter, TRN Mr. Devlin on Facebook, and obviously the Restless Natives here. So we've got about 5 minutes left. So Dave, again, I'm going to go back to what you think you will do after lockdown sort of eases. I know you said you were working at a shop in Northern Ireland. What are your aspirations, mate? Is it really you're looking to go on your own?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of those things you don't consider tattooing when you tattoo. You don't consider it as work.
Right.
Love it that much. It doesn't feel like a job.
Sure. So you are definitely gonna try to do something on your own, or are you gonna go back to the shop? And how does that work? Right. Just before we go off, how does that work? Is it like hairdressers? Do you rent a chair?
Yeah, pretty much.
Shit, because that's what my missus Jack, although she's not a hairdresser anymore, she does. She works with a company that trains people up. That gives them certification. But when she worked for people like Tony and Guy, and basically they rent a chair within the shop, and that's how it works in tattoo studios, Dave. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. There's a couple of ways to do it. You can either pay them a percentage of what you earn for the week,
right,
or it's just a flat rate, and you buy all your own, say, inks and supplies and whatnot. Whereas the percentage, they supply needles, inks, everything else.
So how would you prefer to do that? Say you walked into a studio and said, "Look, I'm Dave. There's my stuff." How would you like to just rent a chair, or would you like to share your revenue?
Yeah, probably a flat rate, because percentages can get a bit out of hand. They can go anywhere up to 50 to 55% to the shop.
No way! What, more than half your fucking revenue?
Yeah.
Shit. I wouldn't be happy with that, in all fairness. Shit.
No. So if you can get your percentage quite low, maybe a sort of 70-30 split, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Reasonable.
Right. Because you definitely obviously can make money doing tattoos.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't rip the back out of it, for example, there's some artists in Belfast, they're about 120 to 180 pounds an hour.
Shit, that's madness, mate.
Yeah.
Madness. Shit.
So it does vary. Whereas out here, further out where sort of the rest of the shops are, you're talking anywhere from sort of 50 to 70 an hour.
Well, that sounds about right. I think they're about even round here. I mean, I'm not talking about the top of the range tattoo artists, but you're talking 65, 70 an hour, or they would just quote you on a tattoo. They say, right, I'll do that for X amount of pounds.
Exactly.
So anyway, we're near the end. We're near the end of the stream. Bork's gonna post the details in the Discord after the stream. We'll let you know about next week's podcast. Bork's going to talk about servers and how to host games, etc., etc. His journey, blah, 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 blah. I just want to say, Dave, really appreciate you coming on tonight. Sorry the rest of the boys weren't on tonight, but I really appreciate you coming on talking about tattoos, mate.
No bother. Thanks very much for having me.
No problem. So anyway, next week we're going to be talking about talking to Bork about how to host games on servers. You don't have to go to big companies. Bork will probably talk about one or two things, and if you're interested in joining us for a live stream afterwards, playing Insurgency Sandstorm on the PC, on the server that Bork set up for us, that's going to happen after the podcast next week. So it's going to be a long night next week. So I just want to say good night and thanks for joining us. Dave, say good night.
Good night.